Do-hyun stared at the holographic display with wide eyes. After 30 years of studying alien life forms across the galaxy, he had never seen readings quite like these. He adjusted his scanner settings for the third time, but the results remained the same. "May-Ray, come look at this," he called to his assistant. "These numbers can't be right." Myra walked over to his workstation in the observation post. Her silver uniform reflected the blue glow from the multiple screens surrounding them. She looked at the display and frowned. "I checked those readings 5 times, sir," she said. "The planet's gravity is 1.0 g. "That's not the problem," Do-hyun replied. He pointed to another set of numbers. "Look at the oxygen levels in their atmosphere. It's over 20%. How can anything survive in such a toxic environment?" The two aliens stood in silence, watching the blue-green planet spin slowly on their main view screen. Earth looked peaceful from their hidden observation post near Mars, but the data told a different story. "The humans don't just survive there," Mary said. "They built entire civilizations. They even have space programs now." Do-hyun shook his head in amazement. His people needed special suits just to walk on planets with half this gravity. The oxygen levels would kill most species in the Galactic Council within minutes. Yet somehow, humans had evolved and thrived in these conditions. "Show me the temperature readings again," he said. May-Ray pulled up another chart. "The planet experiences temperature swings of over 100 degrees. Some regions go from freezing to burning hot in a single-day cycle. And the humans live in all these regions." "Yes, sir. They've built cities in deserts, frozen lands, and even in places with dangerous storm systems." Do-hyun sat down heavily in his chair. The Galactic Council had sent him to study Earth because humans had finally developed faster-than-light travel technology. It was time to decide if Earth was ready to join the galactic community. But these readings suggested something far more interesting. "May-Ray, what about their physical capabilities?" She pulled up new data on the screen. "They can heal from broken bones in weeks. Their bodies can fight off most diseases on their own. They can run for hours without stopping." And she paused, double-checking her notes. "They sleep by becoming unconscious for several hours every day cycle." "They what?" Do-hyun jumped up from his chair. "They voluntarily go unconscious. In their natural environment." "Yes, sir. Every day." Do-hyun paced the room, his 4 legs moving quickly as his mind raced with possibilities. Everything they were discovering about humans went against basic survival logic. Yet somehow, it worked for them. "Send a message to the council," he said finally. "Tell them we need more time for our assessment. And," he looked at the image of Earth again, "tell them to send a medical team. We need to understand how these humans are even possible." May-Ray began typing the message, but stopped suddenly. "Sir, look at this." She pointed to a new alert on her screen. "They're testing their first faster-than-light engine today." Do-hyun rushed to her station. The test wasn't scheduled for another month. Yet there it was, humans pushing their technology to its limits, taking risks that most species would consider insane. "Update that message," he said. "Tell the council this is urgent. The humans aren't just surviving on the most dangerous planet we've ever studied. They're thriving on it, and soon they'll be able to leave it." As they watched, a small light appeared on Earth's surface, the test engine powering up. Do-hyun felt a shiver run through his body. The galaxy wasn't ready for humans yet, but more importantly, he wasn't sure if humans were ready for how different they were from every other species in space. "Sir?" May-Ray's voice was quiet. "What do you think will happen when they find out they're the only species that evolved on a death world?" Do-hyun kept his eyes on the screen. "I don't know, May-Ray, but I think we're about to find out." Hejum's hands shook as he reviewed the environmental data from Earth's surface. The medical officer, Yuma, stood beside him, watching the readings with equal concern. They had joined Do-hyun's assessment team just 3 days ago, and each new discovery left them more amazed than the last. "Look at this region they call Death Valley," Hejum said, pointing to his screen. The temperature reaches 50 degrees Celsius in the summer. That's hot enough to cook most species' brain tissue. But humans visit it for fun. Yuna nodded. Her attention focused on a different set of readings. The oceans are even more fascinating. Humans dive into water pressure that would crush our bodies. They swim in waters filled with deadly creatures. And some of them do this as a sport. The observation post's main room was now crowded with screens showing different aspects of Earth's environment. Maps of earthquake zones, volcano locations, and storm patterns covered the walls. Red warning signs flashed everywhere, each marking conditions that should make advanced life impossible. "Show me the physical adaptation data again," Hejun asked. Yuna pulled up her medical scans. Their bones are dense enough to support movement in Earth's heavy gravity. Their muscles can repair tears and grow stronger from damage. But here's the strangest part. They seem to seek out physical stress on purpose. She played a video of humans in something called a gym. The aliens watched in silence as humans lifted heavy weights and ran on machines that went nowhere. They were deliberately straining their bodies, and their bodies were responding by getting stronger. "That goes against everything we know about survival," Hejun said. "Species are supposed to avoid physical stress, not chase it." A new alert flashed on their screens. Do-hyun entered the room quickly, followed by Mireille. "We have new data from the northern regions," he announced. "Show them, Mireille." Mireille brought up images of a snow-covered landscape. These humans live in temperatures below freezing. They build homes on top of the ice. Some of them travel across the frozen water for fun. "For fun," Yuna repeated. "In those conditions, our bodies would shut down in minutes." "That's not all," Do-hyun said. "Tell them about the children, Mireille." Mireille changed the image to show small humans playing in the snow. Their young ones throw balls of frozen water at each other. They slide down hills on purpose. They make games out of these deadly conditions. Hejun walked closer to the screen, studying the images carefully. "Their young are learning to enjoy danger," he said slowly. "They're training for survival without even knowing it." "Exactly," Do-hyun replied. "Earth isn't just a dangerous planet. It's a training ground. Every challenge humans face makes them stronger." Yuna suddenly called them to her station. "You need to see this. I've been studying their medical records. Humans can survive losing entire limbs. Their bodies can adapt to function with missing or damaged organs. They can even survive having half their brain removed." The room fell silent as they processed this information. These humans, these Earth-born creatures, weren't just surviving in impossible conditions. They were thriving in them, growing stronger, and teaching their children to do the same. "We need to update the danger classification of Earth," Hejun said finally. "This isn't just a death world. It's a forge world, a planet that creates stronger beings through constant challenges." Do-hyun looked at each member of his team. "The Council needs to understand what this means. When humans reach the stars, they won't be looking for safer places to live. They'll be looking for new challenges to overcome. And they'll probably find them fun," Mireille added, watching the children play in their deadly frozen playground. The assessment team turned back to their work, each lost in thought about what they had discovered. The galaxy had rules about which planets could support advanced life. Earth broke all of those rules, and its people were stronger because of it. Jin-woo couldn't believe what he was watching. On his screen, a human was jumping out of a perfectly good flying machine, falling through the air at terrifying speeds. The human was smiling. "Su-min," he called to his colleague, "please tell me this is some kind of emergency procedure." Su-min walked over, carrying her datapad. "No, they call it skydiving. It's something humans do for entertainment." She checked her notes. "They pay money to do this." The two cultural researchers sat in their observation pod, surrounded by screens showing different human activities. After 2 weeks of studying Earth's cultures, they were still finding new ways humans turn danger into entertainment. "Show me the mountain climbing footage again," Jin-woo asked. Su Min changed the display. Now they watched humans using ropes and metal tools to climb up steep rock walls. Some of these walls were taller than buildings. One wrong move meant certain death, yet the humans kept climbing higher. "I've been analyzing their entertainment media," Su Min said, pulling up new images. "Look at this. They create artificial challenges in something called video games. They pretend to be warriors, explorers, and survivors. Even when they're resting, they're practicing for danger." Jin Woo shook his head in wonder. "Have you seen their sports? They throw themselves at each other fighting over balls. They race in fast vehicles. They hit small objects with sticks as hard as they can. Everything they do for fun would be considered survival training on other worlds." A message flashed on their main screen. Do Hyun wanted an update on their cultural research. Jin Woo pressed the communication button. "Sir, we've completed our initial analysis of human recreational activities," he reported. "You're not going to believe what we found." "Try me," Do Hyun replied. "After what we've learned about their environment, nothing about humans surprises me anymore." Su Min stepped forward. "Sir, they have something called horror entertainment. They create stories and images designed to trigger fear responses. They scare themselves on purpose, for fun." There was a long silence from Do Hyun's end. "They intentionally activate their fear responses. For entertainment." "Yes, sir," Jin Woo confirmed. "They build special buildings called haunted houses where they pay to be frightened. They watch stories about dangers and monsters. Some of them even explore abandoned buildings at night for excitement." "That's not the strangest part," Su Min added. "Their young watch cartoon versions of predator animals. They turn deadly creatures into soft toys that they sleep with. They're training their children not to fear danger before they can even walk." The researchers could hear Do Hyun typing notes. "What about their social gatherings?" he asked. Jin Woo checked his data. Many of their group activities involve mild danger. They cook food using open flames. They gather in large, noisy crowds. They dance until they're exhausted. Even their casual meetings often include mild poison consumption they call drinking. And their music, Su Min joined in. Many of their songs are about fighting, surviving, and overcoming challenges. They use powerful sounds that would be considered weapon frequencies on some worlds, but they find it enjoyable. Do Hyun was quiet for a moment. "So what you're telling me is that humans don't just survive danger. They've made it a central part of their culture." "Exactly," Jin Woo said. "Every aspect of their society includes some form of controlled danger. It's like they're always training, always preparing, even when they think they're just having fun." "Send me your full report," Do Hyun ordered. "The council needs to understand this. We're not just dealing with creatures who survived a death world. We're dealing with beings who turned survival into an art form." After Do Hyun signed off, Jin Woo and Su Min turned back to their screens. A new video showed humans running alongside large animals in something called a bull run. "You know what scares me the most?" Su Min said quietly. "This is just what they do for entertainment. Imagine what they're capable of when they're actually trying to survive." Ta Hyun stared at his history screens until his eyes hurt. Beside him, Yi Jin was deep in her own research, studying ancient human records. The two historical analysts had been working for days, trying to understand how humans had survived their own past. "This can't be right," Ta Hyun said, breaking the silence. "According to these records, humans nearly died out around 70,000 years ago. Their total population dropped to a few thousand individuals." Yi Jin looked up from her work. "What happened?" "A massive volcano eruption changed their planet's climate. Most of them died." Ta Hyun paused, checking the data again. "But the ones who lived, they didn't just survive. They spread across the entire planet afterward." "That fits with what I found," Yi Jin said, pulling up her own research. "Humans have faced extinction at least 6 times. Each time, they came back stronger. Look at this ice age they survived." The screen showed maps of Earth covered in massive ice sheets. Most species would have died out or hidden underground. But the humans, they had invented new tools, learned to make warm clothes, and hunted huge animals for food. They don't just adapt to survive, Ta Hyun said slowly. They learn from each disaster. They get better at living in impossible conditions. A message alert flashed on their main screen. Do Hyun wanted an update on their research. They quickly organized their findings and opened the communication link. Sir, we found something important about human history, Yi Jin reported. They should have died out many times, but instead they turned near extinction into advantage. Explain, Du Hyun said. Ta Hyun brought up his research charts. When disease killed half their population in medieval times, they developed better medicine. When crops failed, they created new ways to grow food. When natural disasters struck, they built stronger buildings. And it's not just about survival, Yi Jin added. After each disaster, they write stories about it. They make art about it. They study what happened and teach future generations how to survive even worse problems. Do Hyun was quiet for a moment. Are you saying they learned from their disasters? More than that, Ta Hyun said. They expect disasters to happen. They plan for them. Some humans spend their whole lives thinking about new kinds of problems that might happen, just so they can solve them before they occur. Yi Jin pulled up more historical data. Sir, we found records of something they call preppers. These are humans who collect supplies and practice survival skills, even when there is no danger. They imagine the worst things that could happen and get ready for them. And their entertainment, Ta Hyun added. Many of their stories are about surviving disasters that haven't even happened yet. They imagine new kinds of problems just to think about how they would solve them. Do Hyun's voice was serious when he responded. The council needs to understand this. Earth isn't just a death world that created strong creatures. It's a planet that taught its people to expect the impossible and survive it. There's one more thing, sir, Yi Jin said. We found patterns in their responses to disaster. When things are most dangerous, humans work together better. They share resources. They help strangers. It's like the worse things get, the stronger their social bonds become. The opposite of most species, Du Hyun noted. Usually, disaster makes creatures turn against each other. Ta Hyun looked at his screens again, at the long history of human survival. Sir, I don't think the council understands what we're dealing with. These humans, they don't just survive. They turn survival into an art. They make plans for disasters that haven't happened. They imagine dangers just to solve them. And now they're coming to space, Yi Jin added quietly. The room fell silent as they all thought about what that meant. A species that had turned survival into a science, that had faced extinction multiple times and come back stronger, was about to leave their deadly homeworld. Update the report, Du Hyun ordered. The council needs to know Earth isn't dangerous because of its environment. It's dangerous because it created beings who look at deadly problems and think, how can we solve this? Instead of running away. Sung Ho walked slowly around the three-dimensional display of human military history. Every few steps, he would stop and shake his head in disbelief. Jia Yun sat at her desk nearby, adding more information to their growing database of human weapons. They fought a war across their entire planet, Sung Ho said, pointing to the World War I display. Not once, but twice, and they kept developing new weapons during the fighting. Jia Yun looked up from her work. That's not the surprising part. Look at how quickly they went from simple flying machines to space rockets. It took them less than 50 years. The military analysts had been studying human warfare for the past week. What they found had changed their view of humans completely. Most species developed weapons slowly, over thousands of years. Humans did it in decades. Show me the nuclear weapons development again, Sung Ho requested. Jia Yun brought up the information. They split the atom and made it into a weapon in just 6 years. Most species take centuries to make that discovery, and none of them think to use it as a weapon first. But here's the strange part. Sung Ho said, walking to another display. They only used nuclear weapons twice. They had the power to destroy their whole world, but they chose not to use it. Do Hyun entered the room just then, followed by Mireille. They had come to hear the military assessment team's report. Sir, Jae-yun began, humans are unlike any species we've studied. They don't just fight wars, they transform their whole society to win them. They turn their factories into weapon makers. They invent new medicines to save their soldiers. Even their artists and writers help by boosting morale. Sung Ho nodded in agreement. During their biggest wars, they created new weapons faster than we thought possible. They went from horses to tanks in 30 years, from basic planes to jet fighters in 10 years, from simple rockets to spaceships in 20 years. But they show restraint. Jae-yun added quickly. They'd make rules about warfare. They help their enemies rebuild after war's end. They try to protect civilians. It's like they know how dangerous they are, so they put limits on themselves. Do Hyun studied the displays carefully. What about their current military capabilities? Sung Ho brought up new images. They have weapons that can hit targets on the other side of their planet. Their soldiers train in every environment: deserts, jungles, frozen lands, and oceans. They can fight anywhere. And their combat units are incredibly flexible. Jae-yun continued. Human soldiers can change plans quickly, think for themselves, and adapt to new situations. Most species need strict orders to fight effectively. Humans work best when they have freedom to make their own decisions in battle. Mireille spoke up for the first time. What happens when they bring these capabilities to space? The room fell silent. Finally, Sung Ho answered. They're already preparing for space warfare. They think about fighting in zero gravity. They plan for battles between spaceships. They make movies about defending Earth from space invaders. They're getting ready for wars that haven't even become possible yet. But remember the restraint, Jae-yun said. Every advance in their weapons comes with new rules about using them. Every military breakthrough leads to peaceful uses of the technology. They're powerful warriors who choose to be peaceful most of the time. Do Hyun looked troubled. So we have a species that can develop new weapons at incredible speed, fight in any environment, and adapt their whole society for war. But they also show wisdom about using their power. Yes, sir, Sung Ho confirmed. They're not just dangerous because they're good at fighting. They're dangerous because they understand the responsibility that comes with their power. That kind of wisdom, combined with their military capabilities, makes them truly formidable. Update the council immediately, Do Hyun ordered. They need to understand. We're not just dealing with warriors. We're dealing with warriors who have learned to be peacekeepers. That makes them more powerful than any purely aggressive species could ever be. Min Seok rubbed his tired eyes as he studied the timeline of human technological advancement. Next to him, Dae-yum was adding more data to their research on human innovation patterns. The technology assessment room hummed with the sound of computers analyzing human patents and inventions. This makes no sense, Min Seok said, pointing to his screen. They invented computers to solve math problems. But look what they did next. They turned them into communication devices, entertainment systems, and tiny phones they carry everywhere. Dae-young nodded, pulling up her own research. That's what makes them different. Other species create technology for one purpose and stick to it. Humans see new uses for everything they make. The two analysts had spent days trying to understand how humans approach technology. What they discovered was changing everything they thought they knew about innovation. Look at this pattern, Dae-young said, showing a chart on the main screen. When humans solve one problem, they immediately look for other problems they can solve with the same solution. They never stop asking, what else can this do? Min Seok walked to another display showing the history of human flight. First, they wanted to fly like birds. Then they made planes faster than sound. Then they used the same ideas to build rockets. Now they're working on ships that can fold space itself. Do Hyun entered the room, looking concerned. Tell me about their problem-solving approach, he said. Min Seok brought up new data. Sir, humans don't follow normal innovation patterns. Most species move step by step, slowly improving their technology. Humans make huge leaps. They imagine things that should be impossible, then find ways to make them work. Show him the electricity timeline, Dae-young suggested. The screen changed to show how humans had mastered electricity. In just 200 years, they had gone from simple experiments to powering their entire civilization with it. But here's what's really interesting, Dae-young continued. They didn't wait to fully understand electricity before using it. They learned about it by trying new things, often in dangerous ways. Their curiosity is stronger than their fear of failure. Min Seok pulled up another display, and they share their knowledge in amazing ways. When one human invents something, they tell others about it. Other humans then improve the invention or use it in new ways. They build on each other's ideas faster than any species we've seen. What about their current technology level? Do-hyun asked. Dae-young typed quickly, bringing up recent data. They're approaching several major breakthroughs at once. Artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, quantum computing, space travel. They work on all of these at the same time. Most species focus on one field at a time. Humans push forward on all fronts. And they combine technologies in unexpected ways, Min Seok added. They take ideas from one field and apply them to completely different problems. It's like they don't see boundaries between different types of science. Do-hyun looked worried. What happens when they reach space with this approach to technology? The room grew quiet. Finally, Dae-young spoke. Sir, they're already planning for it. They have thousands of ideas ready to test in space. They've written stories about space colonies, invented theoretical engines, and designed tools for worlds they haven't even visited yet. They don't wait for problems to appear, Min Seok explained. They try to solve them before they happen. And when new problems do appear, they get excited about finding solutions. It's like every challenge is a game to them. Do-hyun nodded slowly. So we have a species that treats technology like a puzzle to be solved, sees new uses for everything they create, and gets excited about finding solutions to impossible problems. Yes, Dae-young replied. And now they're looking at space travel the same way they looked at electricity 200 years ago, as something new to explore, understand, and transform in ways we probably haven't even imagined. Jae-hwa stood in the biology lab, watching human cells repair themselves under the microscope. Se-young sat nearby, comparing human DNA with samples from other known species. Both scientists had been studying human biology for weeks, and every day brought new surprises. Watch this, Jae-hwa said, adjusting the microscope display on the main screen. When human cells get damaged, they don't just heal. They become stronger. Their bodies remember the damage and prepare for it to happen again. Se-young looked up from her work. It's the same with their muscles and bones. The more stress they put on them, the stronger they get. Most species try to avoid stress. Human bodies use it to improve themselves. Do-hyun entered the lab with Mireille, ready to hear their latest findings. The biological research team had requested an urgent meeting. Sir, Jae-hwa began, we need to revise our understanding of Death World species. Humans break all the rules we thought we knew about evolution. Se-young brought up a detailed diagram of the human body. Look at their design. They have backup systems for everything important. 2 lungs, 2 kidneys, a liver that can regrow itself, and a brain that can rewire itself around damaged areas. Their healing abilities are extraordinary, Jae-hwa continued. They can recover from broken bones, torn muscles, and deep cuts. Their bodies fight off diseases by remembering them. They can even survive losing large amounts of blood. Do-hyun studied the diagrams carefully. How did they develop these abilities? Earth forced them to, Se-young explained. Their planet tried to kill them in so many ways that they evolved solutions for everything. High gravity made their bones strong. Dangerous animals made them clever. Diseases made their immune systems powerful. HFY moved to another display showing human endurance capabilities. They can run for hours without stopping. They can go days without sleep. They can survive weeks without food. Their bodies store energy as fat and use it later. They're designed to keep going when any other species would give up. And their brains, Se-young added excitedly. Their minds can handle extreme stress without breaking. They stay calm in dangerous situations. They can focus when others would panic. Earth taught them to treat danger as normal. Myray spoke up. What about their weaknesses? Every species has them. HFY and Se-young looked at each other. That's the strangest part, HFY said. Their biggest weakness might be that they don't know when to stop. They push themselves past normal limits. They ignore pain to achieve goals. They keep going even when their bodies tell them to rest. It's like they're designed to survive anything, Se-young said. But they also have this drive to test their limits, to see how far they can go. They're not content just to live. They want to prove they can overcome any challenge. Do-hyun looked troubled. So Earth didn't just make them strong. It made them want to become stronger. Exactly, HFY confirmed. Most species evolved just enough to survive their environment. Humans keep pushing for more. They exercise to get stronger. They study to get smarter. They practice skills they might never need, just in case. The Council needs to understand this. Se-young said, we're not just dealing with tough creatures from a dangerous world. We're dealing with beings who are designed to keep improving themselves, who see every challenge as a chance to grow stronger. Do-hyun nodded slowly. A species that treats survival as a skill to be mastered, not just a daily task to be managed. And now they're coming to space, Myray added quietly. With bodies and minds designed to overcome the impossible and a drive to keep pushing their limits. The lab fell silent as they all considered what this meant. They had discovered something unprecedented, a species that didn't just survive their death world. They had mastered it, and now they were looking for new challenges among the stars. Hyun-woo paced the main conference room of the observation post, his footsteps echoing in the tense silence. Yeon-ji sat at the large table, reviewing all the research data one final time. Today, they had to make their recommendation to the Galactic Council about Earth. The Council is waiting for a decision, Hyun-woo said, stopping at the window to look at the blue planet below. Should we welcome humans into the galactic community or recommend quarantine? Yeon-ji looked up from her data screens. Let's review everything we've learned. Do-hyun, can you bring in all the research teams? Within minutes, the conference room filled with the scientists who had studied Earth and its people. Each team had discovered something that made humans unique among known species. First, their planet. Hojum began. Earth should be too dangerous for advanced life. Yet humans didn't just survive. They turned its dangers into advantages. Their culture embraces challenge, Jin-woo added. They seek out difficult situations that other species would avoid. They turned danger into entertainment. Ta-hyun spoke next. Their history shows multiple near-extinction events. Each time, they came back stronger. They learned from every disaster. Their military capabilities are extraordinary, Sung-ho reported. They can develop new weapons quickly, but they also show remarkable restraint in using them. Min Seok shared his team's findings. Their technology doesn't follow normal patterns. They make unexpected leaps and find new uses for everything they create. And biologically, HFY concluded, they're built to overcome impossible challenges. Their bodies and minds are designed for survival in ways we've never seen before. Hyun-woo listened to each report carefully. The evidence was clear. Humans were unlike anything the galaxy had encountered. But that made the decision even harder. Yeon-ji, he said, you're our first contact specialist. What do you think? Yeon-ji stood up and walked to the main display. I've studied how humans interact with new situations. They're curious. They want to learn. When they meet new people, they try to understand them. But they're dangerous, Hyun-woo argued. They evolved on a death world. They turned everything into a tool for survival. Yes, Yunji agreed, but that's exactly why we should welcome them. Think about it. They survived impossible conditions, but they didn't become cruel. They developed powerful weapons, but they created rules to control them. They faced extinction multiple times, but they learned to protect life. The room fell silent as everyone considered her words. Du Hyun, who had led the entire research mission, finally spoke. The Council fears humans because they're different, he said. They're stronger, more adaptable, and more innovative than we expected. But that's not what makes them truly dangerous. What does? Hyunwoo asked. Their wisdom, Du Hyun answered. They know how powerful they are, but they choose to be peaceful. They could have destroyed themselves many times, but they learned to work together instead. They turned their drive to survive into a force for creation, not destruction. Eunji nodded in agreement. If we welcome them, they could help solve problems we haven't been able to fix. If we try to contain them, we'll only prove that we're not ready for their kind of thinking. Hyunwoo looked around the room at all the scientists who had studied Earth. Every one of them had started their research afraid of what humans might do to the galaxy. Now they understood. The real question was what humans could teach the galaxy about survival, innovation, and wisdom. Send the recommendation to the Council, Hyunwoo decided. Tell them Earth isn't dangerous because it created powerful beings. It's dangerous because it created beings who understand the responsibility that comes with power. The galaxy needs that kind of wisdom. The observation post buzzed with activity as all the research teams gathered for their final meeting. After months of studying Earth and its people, they had made a discovery that would change the galaxy's understanding of life itself. Du Hyun stood at the front of the room, ready to share their conclusions with the Galactic Council. Council members, he began, facing the holographic display of alien leaders, we came here to study Earth because we thought it was dangerous. We were right, but not for the reasons we expected. The room's screens lit up with images of Earth, its storms, volcanoes, and varied environments. Mi-Ray controlled the displays while Du Hyun spoke. We thought Earth was dangerous because of its harsh conditions, he continued. High gravity, toxic oxygen levels, extreme temperatures, and powerful radiation. But that's not what makes Earth truly dangerous. Hajun stepped forward. The planet's dangers forced its people to become stronger, but other species would have just survived. Humans did more. They learned to thrive in these conditions. They turned survival into an art, Jinwoo added. They made games out of challenges. They created stories about overcoming impossible odds. They found joy in facing difficulty. Taehyun spoke next. Their history shows them facing extinction multiple times. But instead of becoming fearful, they became more determined. They learned to prepare for disasters before they happened. Their military power grew incredibly fast, Sunho reported. But they also learned to control their strength. They understood that power needs wisdom to guide it. Min Seok shared his insights. Their technology doesn't just solve problems. It creates new possibilities. They see solutions where others see only obstacles. And their bodies, Jae-hwa explained, evolved to handle everything Earth threw at them. But they weren't content just to survive. They pushed themselves to become even stronger. Eunji stepped forward to deliver the key insight they had all discovered. Council members, Earth isn't dangerous because it's a hard place to live. It's dangerous because it created something unique in the galaxy, a species that sees challenges as opportunities. The council members listened silently as Du Hyun explained their final conclusion. Humans don't just adapt to their environment, they improve it. They don't just solve problems, they look for bigger challenges to overcome. They don't just learn from their mistakes, they prepare for future difficulties. And most importantly, they do all this while maintaining their compassion and wisdom. Mi-Ray changed the display to show Earth's night side, lit up with city lights. They built civilization in a place that should have killed them. They created art in a world that demanded constant survival. They developed technology that could destroy them, but instead used it to reach for the stars. And now, Du Hyun said, they're ready to leave their dangerous world. But they're not running away from its challenges. They're looking for new ones to overcome. That's what makes Earth truly dangerous. It created beings who see the impossible as simply the next challenge to overcome. The council chamber fell silent as the alien leaders considered these words. Finally, the head council member spoke. So Earth is not dangerous because it is harsh. No, Du Hyun answered. Earth is dangerous because it taught its people to see danger as an opportunity for growth. It created beings who combine great power with great wisdom. And now they're ready to share that wisdom with the galaxy. The real Earth factor, Yeonji concluded, isn't the planet's deadly nature. It's the way it forged a species that turns adversity into advantage, that faces the unknown with courage and wisdom, and that sees the galaxy not as a place to conquer, but as a new frontier to explore and understand. As the council began their deliberations, the research team looked out at the blue planet below. They had come to study what made Earth dangerous. They had discovered instead what made it precious, its ability to create beings who could face any challenge with both strength and wisdom.